So, Mark, the other morning at our coffee, you mentioned something that really resonated with me, and that was the idea of half-built bridges.
Yeah, and I think it resonated with you because it's something a lot of entrepreneurs struggle with, and I'll kind of lay it out that like there's so much information out there, and I think as entrepreneurs that are successful, and by successful I don't mean that we're not we have so much money we don't do anything or anything like that. We have highs, we have lows, but we're just in the game, or at least we're surviving. So I consider that success as a entrepreneur. We have so much information, and one day I'm seeing something like, hey, I should do Facebook ads, and another day I'm seeing, hey, you should be on LinkedIn, or you should do Instagram carousels, or you need to have a digital product, a digital course, or find your ikigai and follow your muse, like all these different things, right? And so I'm going to go to the iPad here, and I'll just go ahead and share my screen. And what ends up happening here is that we end up having a lot of what I would call half-built bridges. So let me just go ahead and get to my screen here. Let's think about this for a second. So this is today. All right, today. And this is me. Right, and this is where I am. I'm happy. Things are good. And here is where I want to be. Right, and this is like probably where I think there's a big pot of gold. All right, so we have a big pot of gold. We'll make that gold so everyone remembers that it's gold. Give it some gold. We'll give it some gold, right? So my pot of gold, right? And so all of a sudden one day, Keith says to me, hey, Mark, you know how you get that pot of gold? You start Facebook ads. And I say, Facebook ads are pretty cool. I'm going to start doing some Facebook ads. But the next time we have coffee, a little line correct. Next time we have coffee, maybe I have coffee with my other friend, Bacon. And Bacon says, you know what, Gutman? You need digital product. And so all of a sudden, I hear that like, what? That's where the gold is? And I come back and I start doing some digital product, but I never finish because lo and behold, my next friend, Kevin, he says, you need to be on Instagram. And I start doing this, right? And then I take a course and someone says, hey, you need to work on your blog. And now these are content ideas, but this could be anything in your business. It could be like, hey, your ops is messed up, and you got to do that. And so what do we end up with? Well, first of all, we're not where we want to be. We're in the chasm. And secondarily, we got a bunch of half-built bridges. And so if you've ever felt like this, like, hey, I've started all these things, I've had courses, I'm like doing learning, I'm starting new major shifts in my business, but all I end up with is half-built bridges, I think you can relate to this. And so what Keith and I were talking about was, instead of stopping and starting something new and thinking you have to do all these things at once, because I think we all agree all these things are valuable, right? Like these all have a place in our business. I mean, there's nothing wrong about them. I think it's just more about priority and timing. So instead of trying to do them all at once, complete one. And what you'll find is, like, for example, if you work on your operational structure and you actually complete it and you get to here, the really cool thing about completed bridges is they come back and they help to fuel whatever it is you want to do next. And so you can then take on the blog because you have an operational structure that helps you. And that gets you over here. And then you come back and that'll feed Facebook ads because you have an operational structure. You can come back, they'll feed that. And it'll come back and you can do your Instagram carousels. And what do you have? You have a bunch of built bridges, but more importantly, you're where you want to be, right? You're over here in the land of happy, and you're able to fulfill your goals, make your goals happen, and move your business forward.
Yeah, that's amazing. And it makes me think of agile software training. The trainer said we need to stop starting and start finishing. And I think that's just a really great analogy as to how it applies to real life, that if you do complete something, how much quicker you're going to be able to accomplish all of these other ideas that you have.
And I think that's amazing advice from Agile. And, this is just a visual representation of stop starting and start finishing. But what I think for me, the real takeaway is it's not only did you finish, but that thing that you finished will add fuel to the next thing. And I think that's really important to remember that, it comes back and it helps. It springboards the next initiative to actually make it less overall probably work and resources than it would have been with all these half-built bridges.
What would you say to somebody who has half a dozen or 50 half-built bridges? Is there any hack or technique to sort of analyzing what's out there and determining what you should focus on first that's going to help you cross that chasm and make the return trip and then fuel the other ideas?
Absolutely. I didn't think we'd keep going to the iPad, but I think I need to show you this. So this is a decision-making matrix that we use. I'm going to go back to the iPad, and we'll go ahead and do that.